Welcome, everyone. I'm Professor David Reeser.
Hi, I'm Professor Aaron Moss.
I'm Music Director Steven Strauss.
And I'm Dr. Venustiano Borromeo, and we are the faculty and staff of the theater program at Stockton University.
And this is the Stockton Theater Company Cabaret. We receive wonderful support for exciting projects like this one from our university leadership, including our university president, Dr. Harvey Kesselman, who we are honored to have with us here tonight.
Hello, and welcome to the Stockton Theater Company Cabaret. I'm Stockton University President Harvey Kesselman. I'm also a member of the first graduating class of Stockton University, so my connection to and love for this university goes back a long way. And I'm pleased to see my passion for the university continue here with the great students and faculty of our theater program. Stockton's theater program embodies our university mission and the principles on which Stockton was founded in innovation, community connections, and interdisciplinary studies. The theater faculty are leading the way in bringing Stockton into the modern era, and the students you'll see presenting online tonight created these videos with the help of the faculty and special guests from Broadway and Hollywood who mentored them in the process of writing, producing, filming, and performing these pieces. Unique pieces from each student that speak to the concerns and commitments they are currently facing in our world. So, without further ado, please enjoy the passionate work of our incredible theater students and their devoted theater faculty, who I'll hand it back to now. Enjoy this show, everybody.
Thank you so much, President Kesselman. It's an honor to have you with us, and we appreciate your thoughtful leadership during these difficult times. Considering the onslaught of tumultuous events in the spring and summer in the United States and abroad, we devised the idea for this company cabaret as a means to explore the topics that concern our students and the issues that matter to our community. So we decided to create an atypical process for our production. For instance, rather than hold traditional auditions with just monologues or songs, we held a workshop where any student could participate in a series of prompted writing exercises. We asked students to do research about their specific areas of interest, to write about the work that excites them as an artist, and to brainstorm creative ways to explore the topics that concern them in their self-identified communities, cultures, and more.
We then asked them to research 3 different possible options that they would like to do for this cabaret. We requested that students not just find songs from musicals or learn monologues from stage and screen, but we encouraged them to come up with business ideas that benefit their communities, research organizations that address the issues that plague our country, or write a spoken word piece about their own social concerns. And to no surprise, our students came up with the most captivating ideas and found visionary ways to express them through the performing arts.
Then, over the course of weeks of rehearsals via Zoom, we brought in a diverse group of special guest mentors from Broadway and Hollywood, who you'll hear from, by the way, over the course of this weekend. Multi-talented artists who have played leading roles in your favorite shows, but have also started their own successful businesses, gone to grad school, taught at universities, and generated their own work about issues that matter in our society. So the faculty and these guest artists spent countless hours working one-on-one with our students via Zoom to help craft the work you'll be seeing today and tonight, and to help determine how we might find effective ways to engage you and others in the causes we all care about.
Those causes and themes of this company cabaret include global citizenship, the pandemic, mental health, and justice for Black, Indigenous, and persons of color. This year, students and faculty explored concepts of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. With diversity, we asked, who's in the room? With equity, we asked, who benefited from being in the room? With inclusion, we asked, how can we be better at who we invite into the room? And finally, with belonging, we asked, how can we be better at ensuring those in the room know that they belong? This detailed self-assessment has led us to a commitment as a program to amplify the voices of Black, Indigenous, and persons of color in our coursework and our productions. The original pieces you'll see tonight have been developed in conjunction with a beautifully diverse company of esteemed guest artists who mentored our students to create the work you'll see tonight.
We also gave our students an opportunity to dive into the causes they care about through the lens of theater production. I worked with award-winning theatrical designer Jay Herzog to help our production students find ways to express themselves through the art and craft of scenic design, lighting, conceptual vision, and much more. So some of the pieces you'll be seeing in tonight's performance are from those students who focused their creative vision towards the technical side of theater.
And what a phenomenal group of Broadway guest artists we've had the pleasure of working with. They were kind enough to donate their time to mentor our theater students and to do a university-wide interview for all of Stockton about their own work as artists, entrepreneurs, and community leaders. You'll hear from each of our guests over the course of this weekend, and we're thankful to them all.
Jimmy Jeter, who most recently starred on Broadway as the $10 founding father without a father of Hamilton. Basti Monpoint, who's been in 8 original Broadway casts and moreover founded 2 successful startup companies. Jenny Barber, Broadway star of Wicked as Galinda, Joan in The Nance with Nathan Lane, and Lydia in Arthur Miller's All My Sons with Annette Bening. Stanley Bohoric, original cast member of more than 20 world premiere plays and musicals, not to mention Broadway's Spelling Bee, Big River, and the upcoming Broadway production of Sondheim's Company with Patti LuPone. Jay Herzog, the award-winning lighting designer and Townsend University design faculty member. And last, but certainly not least, our guest artist in residence, star of Broadway's Choir Boy and The Inheritance, Jonathan Burke, who you'll hear from later on in our show.
But first, to kick off our evening, please welcome Jay Herzog.
Hi, my name is Jay Herzog. I'm a professional lighting designer and a professor at Towson University in Baltimore, Maryland. It has been a pleasure working with Stockton students to witness their creative growth, their love, and their passion they have for theater. My fellow guest artists and I worked with these students not only to nurture their creative growth, but to develop their abstract thinking in the art of the theater. We are pleased and astonished by the hard work and dedication by the Stockton students throughout this process. In replacement of admission tonight for this performance, please donate to the Inside Broadway Foundation. You'll find a link in the chat box. The mission of Inside Broadway Foundation is to ensure that children who are less fortunate get the same opportunity to experience the theater. Your donation will help fund workshops to make certain that theater education is affordable to students who don't have the proper resources to pursue their dreams in theater. Inside Broadway works hand in hand with students to help them learn to grow as artists. Moreover, the workshop leaves a long-lasting impression on each student and, more importantly, nurtures each student as an audience member for the future. Your donation will truly help secure the future of theater and of the arts. Thank you for your support. It is now time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the Stockton Theater Company Cabaret.
Captain's log. It is May 23rd, year 3457. After the incident in the Lazarus Galaxy, the Galactic Assembly decided it was in our best interest to assign us some of the vilest creatures I have ever had the displeasure of meeting. Humans. I've a running history of interesting encounters with said humans, the first of which was when I was still a cadet, top of my class. We were assigned new bunkmates and mine was a human. The first time we met face to face, they bared their teeth at me. Like this. We had not even exchanged a single word, and they indicated to me that they wanted to fight me. To which, I later learned in this trusty informational pamphlet, Humans and You, is actually a way of them showing greetings or affection or happiness. But that's not the only weird thing they do. Just like all creatures, except the Frosnians, they have circadian rhythms, or as they prefer to call it, sleep. Some prefer the day, others the night, but one day, 8 years ago, something changed. One of these day-dwelling humans went missing for 3.5 hours. Out of concern, the chief medical examiner and I kicked down their door. They screamed, I screamed, they continued screaming. I shouted, what are you doing? They shouted, taking a nap. That's weird. And if that's not enough, they pick the worst times they want to fornicate. Just last week, our human engineer said, fuck me, when our engine caught on fire. No, I will not fuck you. Fix the engine. And they had the audacity to look at me like I was the weird one. Captain Fluffy Bottom, signing off.
I torture myself, and I don't know how to stop it. I try so hard to think positive, and for the most part, I do. I am. But keeping myself that way is the hardest thing in the world. It creeps up on me, out from the shadows of my mind. I hate to sound like some cheesy novel, but it's true. Whatever I have going on deep inside myself, I do my best to ignore. And most days, everything is good. But when it hits, when this sudden rush of negative energy comes by, it's like a wave of depression. I get so down about the direction of my life. Am I making the right decisions? Am I being who I'm meant to be? I get low about the things I do, and I second guess my choices after I've already made them. And then sometimes, days later, I change my mind again and go back to an earlier choice I made about the same damn thing. Back and forth, like a circle of confusion. I feel like I'm going crazy when this happens. When I can't seem to figure out a solution to my path. It's like a disease in my brain. I get trapped inside myself and I get lost in this really lonely place. Until finally, I find some inner strength and I rip forward in a new light. But I know that it's only a matter of time before I go back to that way of being. And it scares me. I don't want to be that way. I just want to be happy. And want to know that I'm living my life with purpose. I don't want to have any regrets when I get old and look back on the life I've lived, because I won't be able to go back, and that would kill me in the end. I may need help. I don't know if this is something that I need to talk to a doctor about, like a therapist, or I don't believe in medication. Never have. Maybe I'm too emotional and take myself too damn seriously. I don't know. What do you think, huh? How do I put an end to these phases that I go through?
Ugh. Did you hear what that customer said about quarantine? She really said that she's so sick of it when we're literally working here to make money for our families. I'm sorry I left the front. I just could not comprehend how ungrateful she is. The lady made me think about my mom. She's been working at a senior living facility in North Jersey, and I've been seeing on the news that it's affecting nursing homes a lot. I'm getting so nervous, Josh. No one really knows what this virus is, and now my mom is working at a place where she can get it. Why did this pandemic happen? Was it a wake-up call? Now there's over 200,000 deaths in the US. 200,000. How can we be one of the most advanced countries and have the most deaths around the world? This country cannot handle anything. When were we ever strong? When were we ever really advanced? We're supposed to be the most prepared for a pandemic. What happened to all the playbooks that they made for this type of situation? Were they just tossed aside because our current president doesn't believe in science? I'm so sick of all the lies that our leader has been telling us from the beginning. I mean, I understand. We're a big country. But how could we be so divided at this time? If we all came together, wore masks, got tested, would we still be losing thousands of lives every day? Shit, there's a customer. I don't know, Josh. I just really need to vent about that. So thanks for listening.
It's September 30th, 10:35 a.m. You were handcrafted from a failed attempt at love. Raspberry tainted lips, dark chocolate eyes, ghost-colored skin, and spaghetti hair. You say you're unlovable, but it's just you looking in a funhouse mirror. Picnics with green vegetables, freshly cut grass, and a sky with a hue of blue that heaven has only seen. Taking in deep breaths to release your anxieties, but instead of fresh air, you inhaled poison. Back when you were younger, you would say that it was socially accepted suicide, yet here you are. It's September 30th, 10:35 a.m., and you're stuck. Replaying counterfeit memories that only your mental illness understands, forever stuck on the carousel of false hopes and dreams, going around in circle after circle after circle. Maybe on the 300th spin, you'll feel good enough, included, or loved. Beanies, band-aids, and a broken heart goes along perfectly with a mental breakdown and a failed attempt to try. Stuck between giving no fucks and a lot of fucks. You're just stuck standing in front of a mirror and not liking the reflection you see. She's standing there and she's staring at you. She looks like you. She has ghost-colored skin, dark, black, lifeless eyes, and spaghetti hair. Come with me, she whispers as the darkness starts to creep in. You're just stuck, hearing the voices echo inside of your head and the flashbacks start to play behind your eyes. You slide down the wall, clenching your knees and trying to catch your breath. Tears start streaming down your face and they cut your cheeks like a knife. It stings, it hurts, and I'm in pain. Shh. It's okay. She's just your imagination. It's September 30th, 10:35 a.m. You manage to pick yourself back up and stand back in front of the mirror. You still have raspberry tainted lips, dark chocolate eyes, ghost-colored skin, and spaghetti hair. Isn't today your 21st birthday? I think it's time to show the world who you really are.
What happened last night? Are you really here? Joan, 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 Joan. Hi, Joan. Don't wake up, Joan. Oh my God, last night. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, last night. I got so excited, I was too enthusiastic. Thank you for not laughing. Well, you laughed a little bit at one point when I was touching you and said I might lose consciousness, which you said was adorable, and I just have to trust that you don't think I'm an idiot or some kind of an animal. I've never lost control due to overwhelming lust, but I must say that I'm changing my major to Joan. I'm changing my major to sex with Joan. I'm changing my major to sex with Joan, with a minor in kissing Joan. Foreign study to Joan's inner thighs, a seminar on Joan's ass in her Levi's, and Joan's crazy brown eyes. Joan, I feel like Hercules. Oh God, that sounds ridiculous. Just keep on slipping through this and I'll work on calming down, so by the time you've woken up, I'll be cool, I'll be collected, and I'll have found some dignity. But who needs dignity? Cause this is so much better. I'm radiating happiness. Will you stay here with me for the rest of the semester? We won't need any food. We'll live on sex alone. Sex with Joan! I am writing a thesis on Joan. It's a cutting-edge field and my mind is blown. I would gladly stay up every night to hone in my compulsory skills with Joan. I will study my way down her spine, familiarize myself with her well-made outline, while she researches mine. I don't know who I am. I've become someone new. Nothing I just did is anything I would do. Overnight everything changed. I am not prepared. I'm dizzy, I'm nauseous, I'm shaky. I'm scared. Am I falling into nothingness or flying into something so sublime? I don't know, but I'm changing my major to Joan. I thought all my life I'd be all alone, but that was before I was lying prone in this dorm room bed with Joan. Look, she drooled on the pillow, so sweet, all sweaty and tangled up in my bedsheet, and my heart feels complete. Let's never leave this dorm room. How about we stay here till finals? I'll go to school forever. I'll take out a dementingly huge high-interest loan. 'Cause I'm changing my major to Joan.
Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan Burke, star of Broadway's Choir Boy and The Inheritance. I have the distinct pleasure of being this year's guest artist in residence at Stockton University, working with Professor Moss and his students throughout the semester. My work with students entailed diving deep into the topics students care about, such as the effects of the global pandemic on their lives, questioning what it means to be a global citizen, and digesting the effects of systemic racism in this country and abroad. I think their work truly taps into the American zeitgeist. Theater requires that we examine our customs, traditions, and mores, and the effects we as people have on one another. I think the students have done a fantastic job touching on this, with both a critical eye and humor. I'm so very proud of the work these students have done with myself and their other guest mentors, and I hope you're feeling that pride at home too. Our next student up is Malikah Stafford, whose creative piece serves as a strong example of the deep dive each student has done this semester. Please enjoy the rest of the show.
If you can only feel tall while someone else is on their knees, something is wrong with you. Let me rephrase. If you can only feel glorified while someone else is dehumanized, something is wrong with you. Let me rephrase again. If you can only feel alive while someone else shrivels up and dies, something is wrong with you. Brown-skinned, ebony-covered knees, forced to curse ground for centuries, a cursed ground of oppression, made of hot coals and piercing gravel. Supple, brown-skinned, ebony knees, kneeling through centuries of yes, sir, and yes, ma'am, of going through the back door and walking in sullied gutters, of answering to boy as a man, of being told no and you cannot, of working 4 times as hard to be as good, to end up not being enough, enough, enough. Brown-skinned, ebony knees, kneeling for centuries, scarred, strained, black with decay, sticking to their newfound prayer mat as they pray for the day to stand. On your knees. 1944. Reese was coming from church. She was on the wrong road at the wrong time, with the wrong skin, south of the Mason-Dixon line, a black blemish in a white world that a gang of 6 white boys sought to erase. She was forced to her back, to her stomach, to her knees. No charges were made. The final spit in her face. Nobody cared. The whore was black. On your knees. 2005. Lavina wanted to be just like her daddy. She joined the army, suited up in her camouflage threaded armor, uniformed in supposed solidarity. She wanted to fight for her country. Yet she was the black sheep in the white flock, a black blemish in a white world that her male comrades sought to erase. She was forced to her back, to her stomach, to her knees. Her dead body possessed the scars of torture, yet no charges were made. The final spit of bile on her name, cause of death, suicide. I'm sorry to inform you that your daughter did this to herself. Let me rephrase. Nobody cared. The whore was black. Brown-skinned, ebony knees, forced to curse the ground for centuries. You see, I've been trying to stand, but my shackles dig its rusted ridges into my skin. They won't let me. On your knees, boy. 1955. Emmett was visiting from Chicago, a black teenage boy in the throes of puberty, just trying to see his family, in the crown jewel of the Confederacy, Mississippi, where brown skin teeming with melanin was probable cause for suspicion, where brown skin teeming with melanin was a presumed weapon, where brown skin teeming with melanin was the evidence of the absence of innocence. The word of a white woman who cried wolf, who cried black beast, led 2 white men to kill the beast who sought to feast on a white woman's glorified white sanctity. Let me rephrase. Led 2 white wolves to drag an innocent black boy on his knees into the darkness of night as they mangled his body, ripped into his flesh, snatched the beats from his still growing chest, threw him in the river like he was nothing but the carcass of a pest. The final spit in his face, the men were both acquitted. His life didn't matter. He was just another nigger. Brown-skinned, ebony knees, forced to cursed ground for centuries. 2009. Oscar was at the train station at Fruitvale. With his hands up, he was forced to his knees, then to his stomach. He pled for his life, his young daughter, in his mind, but he possessed skin of the wrong kind. He was shot, living while black, in the back, while the officers checked his shackles, his handcuffs. They were still intact. On your knees. 1999. Amadou was in front of his house. His brown skin teeming with melanin was probable cause for suspicion. His brown skin teeming with melanin was a presumed weapon. He was shot, standing while black, 41 times to be exact. 2016. Alton was selling CDs. His brown skin teeming with melanin was probable cause for suspicion. His brown skin teeming with melanin was a presumed weapon. He was shot, selling while black. 2015. Sandra was driving while black, pulled over, detained, and booked for a failed lane signal. Her brown skin teeming with melanin was probable cause for suspicion. Her brown skin teeming with melanin was a presumed weapon. She was found lynched in her cell, a truth that they will never tell. Tamir, shot dead playing while black. Brianna, shot dead sleeping while black. Ahmad, shot dead jogging while black. Philando, Freddie, Eric, Trayvon. Since when did living while black become my death sentence? Since when did I have to count down to my execution? Brown-skinned, ebony-covered knees, forced to cursed ground for centuries. On your knees. I said on your knees. On your knees. I can't get up. I'm trapped on my knees, strangled by the piercing smoke of the burning flesh, of the ever-flowing bloodshed. It's getting hard to breathe. The once supple skin, now scarred, cracked with dried blood. My knees are going numb. I'm becoming numb. Brown-skinned ebony knees, forced to cursed ground for centuries. Cousins, brothers, fathers, mothers. Swing in the trees that sway in the breeze to the melody of "Oh Say, Can You See?" Calloused hands trapped in rusted chains are placed at the base of whipped backs to keep us from fighting back. Balled fists writhe under the rusted shackles of discrimination, targeted systematic denigration to ignite a proliferation of separation and destruction. The smoke of the burning flesh fills the lungs, choking, gasping as we begin to wheeze, begging to God, uttering George's last words, please. I can't breathe. Brown-skinned, ebony-covered knees, forced to cursed ground for centuries. I hope that one day I'll be free.
What are you without racism? Are you any good? Are you still strong? You still smart? You still like yourself? I mean, these are the questions. It's part of it is, yes, the victim, how terrible it has been for black people.
You don't like esteem and definition.
If you can only be tall because somebody's on their knees, then you have a serious problem. And my feeling is white people have a very, very serious problem. And they should start thinking about what they can do about it.
Social anxiety is a funny thing in my life. Although it has plagued my mind for many years, I can confidently say I don't know where I'd be today without it. Quarantine has definitely tested me in many ways. My best friend, who I've known since childhood, was unable to hang out with me for a couple months. This was due to his mother being infected with COVID. When we finally hung out again, I remember feeling very awkward around him. You'd think that since I've known him for so long, the conversation would come easy. However, I found myself tripping over words and just being very nervous. There always seems to be a voice in the back of my head telling me I'm not good enough. I'll always just be that awkward guy who can't hold a conversation to save his life. However, I know deep down that's not true. I'm lucky to have friends in my life that look past my awkwardness and who never leave my side. When I had my first girlfriend in high school, I distinctly remember the one time we hung out with each other. We ended up watching the movie Paranormal Activity at her house. There we were, not saying a word to each other. That's when the anxiety boiled up so much inside that I looked her straight in the eye and I said, "So, ghosts, am I right?" That was our last date. It was also a time when I was 13 and played the lion Aslan in Narnia the Musical. Yeah, there's a musical, sadly. Mind you, this was a children's theater summer camp, so you already know you won't be getting much in the acting and costume department. I ended up looking more like Winnie the Pooh than a fearsome lion. I still remember giving my ferocious roar and walking out on stage. I could faintly hear chuckles from the audience. I then forgot my line and stood there for a good 20 seconds. I was frozen in endless time, looking like I had just walked out of a spirit Halloween store. Sorry. When I finally fumbled my way through the scene, before I knew it, my lion tail had detached from my costume. So basically, I was holding my tail the rest of the performance. I mentioned that I wouldn't be where I was today without anxiety, and it's true. It has pushed me to be more involved and take more risks. I might not even be here right now reciting this monologue. Anxiety may sometimes feel like a one-way street that constantly leads to many failures. However, you will come to realize that it is these failures that teach you the most valuable lessons and make you mentally strong as a result. So overall, I believe my curse is also my blessing. Like the band AJR says, go out there and make 100 bad days into 100 great stories.
For me, life in the quarantine has been somewhat normal. I wake up, I go to the nest, as I call my spot on the couch in the den where I'd study on weekends and lounge on weekdays, and then I sit there until it's bedtime. Obviously there are some small breaks, but anyone in my house would attest to the fact that I probably spend 90% of my life there. My father lives in a very different life right now, and worry barely begins to describe it. God, I have so much respect for what he does, even if I don't respect the things he tells me to do. He carries the weight of the whole pandemic on his shoulders. He was the one who put his foot down and made us stay home. He made himself and my mother shower every day in our basement and leave their clothes in the basement contamination area before padding upstairs in a towel. He even went as far as barring us from using the communal bathroom downstairs, restricting everyone to only use the toilet in their room. But he does it all out of love and worry. He has not hugged me for about a month, and it's usually the first thing he does when he gets home from work every day. I am healthy and young, and I am at such low risk, but this man worries so much. And he won't sit back and just make our house safe either. He wants to save the world. The first week of lockdown, he sat silently at dinner as the cogs and gears of his brain turned. This man personally made a plan to maneuver patients in hospital settings to provide care for COVID patients. He then emailed at least half a dozen contacts who have clout in the medical government to tell them how he believes they could help avert this crisis. And when I asked him if he would be on the news, he said, "I hope I'm not." He did this because he worries and he cares. And he still goes to work most days, saving more lives. And he still takes his online business school course that he takes for no other reason than that he wants to more effectively run the practice he's already in charge of. And he still helped me proofread my summer program applications. And he still participates in family games and movies. And he still cut me up a pear and delivered it to the nest where I sit and play Animal Crossing.
Hello? Why did I answer? That's a great question. Why did I answer? Do you know? Because I'm still trying to figure it out. But a better question, I think, is why are you calling? What is it that you think you are achieving? And don't give me that shit that you were just calling to say sorry. What is it that you're hoping to get out of this? Why now? You had some grandiose self-realization. Well, congrats. What finally did it? How'd the penny drop? Did you make the realization in the time you've had in quarantine? Actually, how have you been spending your quarantine? Have you been spending time with you? Because I've been stuck with, me. That is so all-consuming. The loneliness, I mean. But then again, I went into it feeling more alone than I'd ever had, having lost you, but having you there every goddamn minute. And it is exhausting. At first it's fine because you're treading water, but eventually you just get dragged down further and further as if cinder blocks have been tied to your ankles. And then to not only be alone, but now be physically isolated, it is enough to make anyone crack. But then again, people have issues being alone in general, don't they? I mean, the two of us clearly did. You crashed into me like a wave, pulling me in the first moment you could, and I let you. Not wanting to be alone myself after 6 months with someone else. And it can be daunting to just have to suddenly be alone. Just look at the world right now. Look how quick people are to get back to some sense of normalcy in day-to-day life, despite the fact that that normal doesn't even exist anymore. And even though there are things available and opening up, that doesn't mean that shit should go back to the way it was. But people don't want to be stuck with themselves. And I mean, I get it. Why would I want to be stuck with myself when I have blamed myself for every shitty thing that has happened and attributed it to what I lack? It can be pretty lonely when you can't stand the person you're with, especially when it's yourself. So it's no wonder that people try to escape it, that flood of loneliness. But what is the cost to escape it? Because for me, at least, I can't start backtracking to when I didn't feel alone. Because your predecessors are few and lacking, and you are you. And after everything, I shouldn't go near you with a 100-foot pole. So again, I'm somewhat left to question, why the fuck did I answer? But the thing is, it has felt like my head has been filling with water for the last 2 years. Getting heavier and heavier with the weight of everything you said and did. With the weight of my own actions and the guilt for all of it. and with the weight of the empty space that exists in what we had. What I thought we had. What you told me we had. And now I am here and I am talking to you, and despite the lies, despite the pain, despite the love, despite all of it, I am remaining weightless for the first time in ages. Because maybe being alone is what we need. Because we aren't actually alone. We just never learned to be with ourselves. Being groomed with this idea that if you do not have your person, that you are somehow incomplete, so that everyone just throws themselves into things and relationships that they think that they want without even knowing themselves. And then they just end up with a mess where no one wins, no one's happy, and we're all just sinking a little more into our own loneliness. But if we just learned to be with ourselves, and that's what I've been doing, or at least trying to do, because I realized after being forced to sink to the bottom or deal with myself, that I don't need someone. I don't need you or them. Because what if by being with me, I am finally free and embracing myself in the way that you never could, in the way I've been made to feel I never should. And now I'm here with me and with you. So you can tell me whatever it is that you want to, but because I have already told you everything I could, as I screamed into a void, hoping one day you would hear me, I don't have anything left to say or anything left to give you. So you're gonna talk, and then I'm gonna go.
I'm still breathing, barely breathing, but still I'm here, I'm alive. As the panic within sticks to my skin, threatens to break me down, and lose myself to the thoughts my mind is caught, it's suffocating. And I remember breathe out. have those fears, but I'm still breathing. My fears didn't think I'd make it this far. They thought they would win. They thought I would give in. Sometimes I still feel the pull that grabs me back to where I was before. But I know now how to fight it. Breathe in. Breathe out. Every year is different than the one before. Worse in some ways, better in some. All you do is move on, but I'm still breathing. Barely breathing, but I'm still breathing. Even if just for a little while.
Thank you all for attending tonight's performance of the Stockton Theater Company Cabaret.
If you were moved by tonight's performance, please help us spread the word. It's the same Zoom link every night, and there's a different lineup of students every night. So please come back and bring a friend. And join us for a Q&A before the show on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. for our 3rd annual Experience Theater Day.
And follow us on social media for more details, where you can find links to donate to the organizations and take action towards the causes that our students have spoken so eloquently about tonight. You can also find those links here in the chat box while we roll the credits, or on social media at Stockton Theater.
There you can also find information on our upcoming spring shows, future guest artists, and our end-of-year New York City Industry Weekend. On behalf of the students, faculty, President Kesselman, and our Broadway guest artists, we thank you for attending. Good night, everybody.